Hey AI, can you educate me on the process of baptism for newborn babies?
That's easy. Just take the baby and
Just drop the baby in Gatorade.
So AI has been getting weird. Really weird. Let me explain. So AI has now been in the picture for long enough for the general public to tinker around with it and see what the AI is capable of. And although skeptical at first, now the general public has got a taste of AI and have inculcated them into their normal daily routines as a norm after seeing what AI is capable of and how they can make their work more easier. It started off as simple stuff such as autonomous vehicles or helping doctors by producing advanced pattern recognition softwares with AI for early cancer detection in patients. To now, basically this.
You ever made the tweet asking it how many LTT backpacks would fit in the trunk of a Tesla or whatever the question was?
Oh, I didn't see that. That's
Someone
hilarious.
made that tweet on the LTT handle.
Oh, that's really funny.
And it did it. It looked up the dimensions of the LTT backpack. It looked up the dimensions of the trunk, and it figured it out.
How the f did it do that?
Ask it. Let's do it live.
Because I thought the dimensions for the backpack are in picture form.
Searching for that. Now it's searching up
Shut
LTT
up.
backpack dimensions.
Shut up! Have
Look at
different
this!
shapes and dimensions. Based on some rough estimates, I will try to answer
That's
it.
insane! That's actually nuts!
Based on some videos of the Model Y trunk. Shut up! It can fit about 5 to 7 standard carry-on suitcases which have similar dimensions and capacity. Holy
Which is accurate. That statement is real.
shit.
That's crazy.
Anyway, big companies like Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI, these are very reputable companies and they have all these huge data sets. And now the AI models have been out in the public for almost a year now, providing them with real life training for these AI models. And you'd think that this would be enough for it to not make any problems, right? Wrong. There are weird examples of AI goof-ups cropping up all over the place, even today. Take for instance this one time, a big firm lawyer used ChatGPT in hopes to speed up his research for specific case laws in Colorado and ended up with a bunch of false and made up case laws, which although seemingly convincing on face value, was just utter BS not found in legal databases. Another example, which is what we based our video intro from, hails from Christian advocacy group called Catholic Answers, wherein they introduced an AI priest who, according to the users, gave creepy answers to confessions and even told someone that they could baptize their baby in Gatorade. And it's not like these companies are trying to hide the fact that their AI chat boxes are prone to errors. In fact, it says so on their terms of service and on their landing page that these LLMs are prone to errors, they can generate incorrect information, and it's always a good idea to fact check the answers that the AI chat boxes give to whatever they're working on. But it shouldn't be happening this often and with this degree of certainty. Anyway, let's back up for a second and figure out how exactly does AI really work and what causes it to break down.
Before jumping into the workings of AI and LLMs, let's have a look into the two most distinct technologies that people often get confused between: machine learning and generative AI. Machine learning is a subset of AI. Its basic modular framework revolves around understanding, predicting, and presenting information based on pre-existing data. Its basic learning algorithm is similar to that of other generative AIs and large language models. The three steps that it comprises are data collection, training, and testing. I'll come back to these in a bit. The vital difference between generative AI and machine learning is that generative AI goes an extra mile to create new content. That's right, creating new content which wasn't explicitly programmed into it. To understand the difference between these two a little better, let's take help of an example. Your smartphone plans out its day-to-day battery and energy expenditure according to your sleeping patterns and observing your day-to-day use of the smartphone. That's machine learning. But when it comes to generative AI, a generative AI can give you a proper personalized workout plan based on your diet, based on your eating habits, sleeping habits, and your health. Despite their little differences, The two can act as catalysts for each other. Machine learning, on one hand, can provide generative AI with better and more informative training data sets, which will help better its performance. And generative AI, on the other hand, provides machine learning with synthetic data if the data present in the real world is limited or inadequate. So, artificial intelligence or AI is something which is not new. It's been going around since decades. Your YouTube search history, YouTube results, web recommendations, all of it is essentially machine learning algorithms. So, our eyes opened when generative AI came into being. From when it went from just compiling and finding results from existing information to generating new information. Large language models, or LLMs, they are language models which essentially work on human language. That's right, not code, human language. So ChatGPT, Claude, Google Assistant, all of these started as large language models itself. So how exactly do these AI models work? The common misconception is that they understand human language. That is not how generative AI works. The basic premise of the output structure is that it relies on identification and correlation of patterns. And the fundamental working of it is just input, processing, and output, just like every other machine learning.
LLMs and generative AI models have what can be termed as its neural network, and this network solely deals with numbers. But how is generative AI able to comprehend human language when it deals with numbers? The simple answer is that any form of content, be it text, images, audio, or video, can be converted into numbers. The math behind it is that at its core, AI uses applications of linear algebra, especially matrix operations. Words are converted into numbers using a technique called word embeddings. What this does is that it places words in a higher dimensional space, which means that every word can be further represented as a vector. These vectors are then further processed using matrices, which are basically a grid of numbers. The AI uses vector and matrix operations to find relationship between words.
So for instance, the vector for king minus man plus woman might result in a vector which is similar to that of queen. This is because the correlation between a man and a king is similar to that of the vectors between a queen and woman. Therefore, the difference of these vectors might also result in something similar. This math helps AI understand analogies. So when you ask it a question, it generates a response by predicting one word after another. These responses are based on patterns that this learns from mathematical operations.
For example, if I input "the sky is" in a large language model, it will be converted into numbers, get processed by the neural network, and give an output according to the set parameters, say blue. Billions of such numbers and parameters are set in the neural network for the AI to identify patterns and generate responses. Now the question is that how such an enormous amount of numbers are set? Because manual setting is out of question, am I right? This is where the concept of training comes into play.
So an AI model learns exactly like how a human does, even from its own mistakes. So during a training period, what happens is that large amount of text is inputted into the language model, after which the AI starts predicting words one after the another until it gets really good at predictions. So in order to help these predictions, in order to help AI get better at predictions, the parameters are set automatically and they keep changing. This is called backpropagation. Now you know why AI talks very much like how a human does. It may or may not give you the correct information and answers, but it will talk convincingly. But information stands at one place. You can provide the model with crazy amount of information and it will give you appropriate responses for it time and again. But how exactly does an AI model know what information is to be withheld and what is to be disseminated? The short answer is that it doesn't. An AI doesn't have moral or ethical values. But when you ask it to rob a bank, it will not give you the information on the grounds that it does not assist and or condone unethical or illegal activities. This is called reinforcement learning with human feedback.
An AI model also undergoes human training. This involves hours and hours of evaluation and testing of outputs generated by the model and giving it feedback.
Now, you
would assume because these LLMs have such rigorous training and have such large data sets to refer from, it would be very easy for them to answer simpler facts. Well, mistakes happen. When a user asked AI for a solution to make cheese stick to pizza, AI overviews suggested that the user should use non-toxic glue. And that's not it. When asked how many Muslim presidents the US has had, the AI overview feature responded by saying the US has had one Muslim president, Barack Hussein Obama. Generative AI can sometimes oversimplify complex discussions like a description of the theory of relativity, or misunderstand context like if you ask the definition of life, the meaning of life, they would be confused to give you a definition of the word or to give you a more philosophical answer.
But why does AI give wrong information despite being trained on a ton of data and having ready access to a search engine like Google? Why is AI inconsistent even for simpler facts? This happens because generative AI operates probabilistically.
It predicts likely responses based on patterns in its training data. They can generate outputs that sound correct but aren't. The incorrect or misleading text that AI generates are because of hallucinations, inconsistency, and bias in AI. Let's talk about these in detail. Hallucinations in AI is when an AI model generates false or misleading information. This happens due to various factors such as overfitting, insufficient or low quality training data, or adversarial attacks. Inconsistency in AI is when there is a lack of coherence or logical connection between different pieces of information generated by an AI model. This can happen due to various factors like errors in data entry, miscommunication, or intentional deception.
Intentional deception, wherein a company like, say, Microsoft may restrict their chat model, giving creative answers for its inception, making up a sci-fi story, and then getting restricted. So to conclude based on our findings, AI makes all of these weird and stupid mistakes even for simpler facts because fundamentally AI doesn't know if it's lying or not. Like, that's not in the model. What it's doing is basically taking our inputs and creating outputs based on related words that are most likely to go together. And sometimes the data that these AI chatbots are fed aren't even accurate. It all depends on where it's scraping the data from for the information to either be useful or utter BS. So we have to consider the fact that all of these big LLMs like Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, or ChatGPT, or any other XYZ AI chatbot generates and produces content which it thinks should be pieced together and not what it actually is. It's not sentient, that's just how it is. It doesn't understand what it's saying, and it is definitely not fact-checking itself. So we should always keep this at the back of our mind while using AI. It doesn't understand what it's saying, and it is definitely not fact-checking itself. So we should always keep this at the back of our mind while using AI.